Oh, there we go. Good afternoon, peeps. I'm back again. Your favourite ugly mug, back on the tubes. Right, what we're doing today. I'll do a shout out first. Give us a second. So I'll go back to the beginning. Here we go. Stace! Jay's in. Oh, what? Is it late night or early morning for you, Jay? Herb's in. Barry's in. Ian in the shed. Good afternoon, Ian. James Cassidy's in. David's in. Good afternoon, David. Tubby Turner. What is your name, Tubby? I wish I'd picked that name. Wifey Woodshed's in. I keep on forgetting to mention her, but I've done it today. Mark Inman. I think that's about it. Right, guys, what we're doing today. All right, again. Right, I wonder if Jane is on the internet. Give us 5. I'm just going to check if Jane's on the internet and tell her to get off. Somebody should tidy this bloody workshop up, I tell you. Oh, that should be me then. Right, I'm back. Jane was on the internet. Hopefully the feed's a bit better now. Right, what we're doing. I'm just going to do a box with a lid. I'm not very sure what the piece of wood is. I bought this piece of wood 20-25 years ago, and obviously the label's gone. I'm pretty sure it's some kind of rosewood. It's 2.5 inches square. At the moment it's about 6.5 inches long. So we're just going to get on and start doing a box. I'll change the camera and then we'll get on. There we go. We've got the overhead shot. I've got it between centres at the moment. I think I've lost Dale. So I'll try giving it a... It's all right, Dale. I'm just sorting out the headphones. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to sort my headphones out, Dale. Just give us a second. That's better. That's it. Grand. Right, guys. Sorry about that. I was just trying to get me earworm back in my ear. So here we go. Get started up. I'm turning at around about 2,100, and the tool I'm using is my spindle roughing gouge, and I'm just going to get it into round. I'm expecting this wood to be very dusty. Who was that, sorry, Dale? Oh, hi, Chris. Hi, James. Hi, Alistair. Thanks for coming in. Hi, James. Just a wee bit more to go on here. That's it. Right, I'll just get this cleaned up with get the ends cleaned up with my parting tool. And I'm going to be putting a tenon on both ends on this. Obviously one end to hold the body of the box. But I'm putting one on the other end so I can actually hold the lid while I finish the bottom part of the lid, if you see what I mean. Shavings in the up. Hi, Colin. I might have made that one a wee bit too small. This is going to be absolutely awful to turn. Afternoon, Scott. And now I'm going to use my thin parting tool, and what I do at the inside of the tenon, I put a groove, and I'll explain why I put that groove once I get my chuck on in place. Oh, it's got some lovely grain in this. No, don't sing in here, and definitely don't whistle. It was very disturbing, Dale, very. Right. Now, as you saw, I put a small groove in the tenon. Now, the jaws I use are Axminster jaws. I use the Axminster C jaws for the majority of work that I do. And the Axminster C jaws are one of the things the Axminster C jaws does is actually hold the screw chuck. So it holds the screw chuck. So there's a small lip on the jaws here that clamp around the screw chuck, which means they are not dovetail jaws. They are parallel jaws with a lip. So what I tend to do is put that small groove in so the lip on the jaws, just get that centered, so the lip on the jaws clamps into that groove, and gives a very positive grip. Right, let's have a look and see what sort of length I'm playing with here. That's what she said. Right, so if I take that at about 2 inches, I'll do the lid at about 2 inches. I'm just gonna get that parted off around about. Oh, remember to tighten up the tool rest. No, not normal dovetail. A lot of people think that. Right, so I've taken that down. I've left that tenon quite big. Good afternoon, Emma. So I've left that tenon quite big, and I'll get that sorted out for the lid once I get the box turned. And this is going to go flying in a second. Hold it. And now we'll get on and shape the box. And for doing that, I am using my 1/2 inch spindle gouge. We're going to use the short tool rest for this. Get it set up so the tool rest is just under center. So when you present the spindle gouge, it's actually hitting just on center. And I'm just going to be forming a big bead on the top. I'm making a small box, Colin. Thanks, Phil. Much appreciated. All right, I'm just turning. I've got a afternoon thrifty. The spindle gouge I've got is a double-ended one. So on one end, I've got a fingernail grind on there. And on the other end, I've got a swept back, more of a detail grind. So I'm just changing onto the detail grind now. Just so I can take this bottom part in a bit. It'll have quite a narrow base, this. There we are. Now that's basically the outside shape. How many? Oh my life. I'm just starting to sand at 120, just hand sanding. I could use my inertia sander. In fact, I may well do that because it does cut out a lot of the radial sanding lines. It shouldn't need a hell of a lot of sanding. I did get quite a good finish off the tool, so it shouldn't need a lot of sanding. Good afternoon, Wayne. Right, so I'm just going to use some chestnut sand and sealer. This is the cellulose sand and sealer out of a rattle can. You've probably heard it rattle there. Let's give that a second to soak in a wee bit and then I'll wipe the excess off. It does dry very, very quickly, the cellulose sand and sealer. And like I usually say, if I was just going to go on and just finish this with a wax or an oil, I'd knock this back with one of the like Scotch-Brite pads. I'd knock it back with one of them. But I'm going to be using Yorkshire Grit. So, as that's an abrasive, I don't need to knock the sand and sealer back. So we're just going to apply the grit. Spread it all around with the lathe stationery. Start off doing this at a slow speed when you're using the Yorkshire Grit. So I'm going to have that running at around about 250. And you just start working the grit in. You'll notice some slurry building up on the piece, and that's actually the abrasive part of the grit doing its job. Then you can turn the speed up, get a clean piece of paper and start working it in. And you want to keep working it in until your piece of paper comes away clean. And I nearly said realistically there. And I'll finish that off with some of Wayne of the Big Feet's wax. So there it is, see, we get that out of the glare. That's it. Food safe wax. And I've found using this that you don't actually need a lot. Afternoon, Barry. Hey, Baz, I mean. Where are you from, Baz? Baz Sarty, whereabouts are you from? And that's the body, or the outside I should say, of the box done. I'm not very sure, Scott. I think it's some type of rosewood. But like I said earlier, I bought this 20 odd year ago. I bought this piece of wood, and obviously the label has come off since. Right, now the drill bit I'm going to use, I'm going to drill this out before I start hollowing out. I'll just see how far down I need to go, just to that point there. Then the drill bits I use, or the one I'm using today, it comes in a set of 4. You get them from either Lidl's or Aldi's, and they're called 3-dimensional drill bits because you can actually drill around corners with them. Yeah, you can drill around corners with them. I'm just talking to Dale there. Because of the shape of the head and because of the width of the shank, you can actually go into a hole and drill around a corner like that. Saying that, I've never actually had a use for doing that. Yeah, I've just got a small nub on here that I'm going to take off. There we go. Turn the speed down again. I want this running at around about 500. There we go. Oh, get the tool rest out of the way. That'll help. That's it hollowed out. And what I'm wanting to do is get the opening on this around about 1 3/8. That's purely so I can get the lid fitted into a set of jaws to finish it off. So I want the opening in the box body to be around about 1 3/8. A bit wider than that. That's it about there. Where am I? All right, I'm in Dumfries, Baz, southwest Scotland. Right, turn the speed up again. I'm just going to use my parting tool to start off with, just to get that width or the opening size developed. That's it about there. I'll probably take that in deeper. There we go. And I'm going to put my longer tool rest on. I prefer having the longer tool rest going across the opening of the box, particularly for the tools I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using Simon Hope's small hollower, the 6mm hollower, that one there. It's got a 6mm carbide cutter on there. Just make sure I'm getting to the right there. When people are doing small hollow forms and doing boxes and things like this, they always talk about hollowing tools. And whenever somebody mentions hollowing tools, they always tend to be talking about a swan neck tool. But a lot of the time when you're hollowing, either doing boxes like this or doing hollow forms, you only need a swan neck just to do this area here around the opening. And depending on how big the opening is, sometimes you don't even need it then. Oh, hi Huey. Mark's in as well. Never saw that. Hi Mark. No, that's not where I'm originally from. I'm originally from a town in County Durham called Chesterley Street. And if you go 8 miles south of Newcastle, 9 miles west of Sunderland, and 6 miles north of Durham, you get to Chesterley Street. Oh yes, that's why it's called. That's if any towns in the UK have got either a Castor, a Chester, anything like that in the name, it dates back to the Roman times. Oh, we've got 2 thumbs down. Well, would you believe it? Bit of a grab there, sorry about that. All right. Are you working this afternoon, Dale, or are you off? I'm just putting the Hoover on. Now, a lot of people use an air gun and blow out the insides of these things. I don't really see the point in that. You're just spreading dust everywhere. Move the two rest ups. Afternoon, door. Did somebody make a mistake with the thumb? Right, I bought this. Oh, when did I buy this? I think I bought this a year ago, last November at Harrogate, this one. It's got a star bit in the center for loosening it off, and basically whenever it gets a bit dull, you just loosen the star off and turn the carbide tip round until you get to a sharp bit, and then once you've been all the way around the carbide tip, that's when you order a new one. I'll move it out again. Hi T. Hi Steve. Not so far. Right, I'm now going to use one of my hooked box scrapers. I'm just going to use this just so I can clean the inside walls up a bit. I've finished the hollowing process, but I'm just wanting to get the walls cleaned up, because obviously I'm not going to be sticking my fingers in there to get it sanded. Why do you get lines in a wax finish? Did he say? Right. It could be that the wax is getting very hot, and then as it's cooling down, it's causing the ridge lines. What you could do, was that Baz that asked that? Right, Baz, what you could do is use a method that Martin Sabin Smith uses, and apply the wax, but then gently heat it with a hot air gun so it just starts to melt, and then start rubbing it in. People have been getting some very, very good results using that method. Right, that'd be good for a laugh. Right, I've yeah, 3.2s are very good. You can use them for loads of things. I've got the small one, 3.2. I've also, I think I'll not be able to find it now, but that's it's not a 3-point, but that's a like a diamond point. Very versatile tools to use. Right, that I'm just going to give that another quick polish with some paper. But that's basically the body of the box done. Now I'm not going to part it off at the base. I'll get it finished off. I'll get it turned to finish it off. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to slot the top into the chuck. I think that might be a bit too aggressive. Just make sure that's running grand. Right. Let's see how we're doing size-wise. Oh, got a fair bit to get rid of there. What I'll do first is I'll just put a slight dish into the bottom here. Drop the tool rest down. And just start bringing down a bit to go yet. In fact, I'll use the parting tool initially. This is the fiddly bit because I'm trying to get a very good fit on here. Getting there. Yeah, I use Chestnut Wood Wax 22 a fair bit as well. What I tend to do though, when I'm using Chestnut Wood Wax 22, and Scott does this as well. Scott did this on his live on Saturday. I tend to put a microcrystalline wax over the top of the Wood Wax 22. It's a harder wax and it resists fingerprints. Oh my God. Right, that's it. Just about there. This is when I take one cut too many and it becomes a French fit. And for those of you who don't know what a French fit is, it's too loose. To tell you, well, from my point of view, Colin, I can't answer that because I've never used it. Afternoon, Ruben. Right, that's fit in there. What I'm going to do now, that is actually just a wee bit loose, but here ho, such is life. You could do, or you could, like Dale's just said in my ear, start again. Right, I'll just move some of these tools out here. And what I'm... No, you hold it. Right, so before I start finishing off the top, what I'm going to do is get the bottom of the box finished off, just so I can have a nice clean finish on the bottom. I'll get it turned off, and then right at the end I'll get it sanded. Afternoon, Keith. What I might do is use my smaller spindle gouge. Right, so I'm just going to start shaping the lid now. Obviously this small tenon here is the bit that goes into the box. It's going to be a very basic shape of lid. Quickly get that sanded. Afternoon, John. Now, once this is finished, I'll explain what I'm going to be doing on Wednesday. I'm going to be doing something a bit different on Wednesday. I'll be looking for music paper. Not much is music paper. I can't find it on the Going to put on some sealer. Afternoon, Mike. Oh my, that's more than I get in the Wednesday night. Thanks everyone for coming in. It's much appreciated, it really is. I hope you're enjoying it. An Evo stick tin. All right. Right. We'll see if it still looks like an Evo stick tin once I turn it around and finish off the top. Is that not an abrasive like the Scotch-Brite stuff? Is that what you're talking about, Keith? Right. If anybody is wondering what the differences in colours are of the web racks and stuff like that, the green one has an equivalent grit of about 240. The purple one has an equivalent grit of about It's 600. The orange one has an equivalent grit of, where is it? I think it's about 1200. And the white one is around about 2000. Dark, I haven't seen you for months, man. Where you been? Good afternoon, Christine and Michael. Thank you very much, David. Much appreciated. Right. That'll do. Here we go. I'm just going to do a very, very basic shape on here. Very well here, Doc. So you use the white one to put the wax on, do you, Keith? Well, thanks, Ruben. Afternoon, Vance. Thanks for joining. So you've come out of hibernation, have you, Doc? So Keith's saying yes, he does use the white web brass for applying the wax. Oh my God. Like I say, guys, thanks very much for coming in and watching. I think I've actually pulled a few people from people who were in watching Emma on Saturday night, and also who were watching Chris last night as well. So I really appreciate you coming in, guys. Obviously, we are all doing these afternoon lives because of the lockdown situation, but there are a number of us who do regular lives throughout the week as well. I've got a regular spot on a Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock. Dale, who is in my ear from Maple Tree Studios, he does a regular spot on a Sunday afternoon doing some scroll saw work. Nick the Flaming Turner does a live on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock. His partner Stace does a live on Friday night at 8 o'clock. Richard Bennett, the Beard times 16, He does a live on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. Let's see how that's looking. Yeah, Chris Fisher and his wife Nicola do a bit of a vlog on a Monday night at 7:30 called At Home with the Fishers, and that's the title of the channel. And Andy Heel, AH Bespoke, does a live on a Monday night. Monday night, 9:15, and at the moment Andy's right into his power carving, so that's what he usually does. Just going to move this tool rest up. Need to speed up. Yeah, Mr. Rubin as well. He doesn't do lives as much, but he does put a premiere out, so you can actually, with a premiere video on YouTube, it goes out like a live, so you can actually join in the chat. So he's trying to get a regular slot for his premieres on a Friday night. So there's quite live wise, there's quite a lot going on, and as well as that, you've got loads and loads of people who are coming in and doing lives at various times. Martin Sabin Smith, he does a Tuesday night as well during lockdown, and he also does, in fact, he's just changed that. He just put a thing out on Facebook yesterday, and he's just changed that. I can't remember how he's doing it now. I think what he's going to do now is an all-day live on a Saturday, or a long live on a Saturday, and then revamp it and put it back out on a Tuesday. I think that's what he's doing now. Ed Oliver from Oliver's Wood Turning, he's been putting a couple of lives out, and Emma as well. Emma Cook, the Tiny Turner, she started putting a live out on a Saturday evening at 7:30. So there's loads and loads of stuff going on. Thank you. Pointy. It's my witch's hat box. Oh, turn the speed down. This is definitely not a box lid you want to sit down on. I wish they could organise the calendar so people could just add on to it. Mind you, you'd probably get numpties adding things onto it. Well, Nicola did say if you just get in touch with her, and she'll do an add-on onto the calendar anyway. That's what you said last night. Right, so take this out of the chuck. It has marked the spigot on the top, but not that much. Let's see how it fits. It fits quite nicely. Just want to get the grain lined up. Yeah, that's the grain lined up. Lost it again now. And so that's it. What I'll do now, I'll just quickly that's it. I'll just quickly put the Jacob's chuck back in to the headstock. Right, for those of you who haven't watched me before, let's see if I can take that back out again. What the Jacob's chuck that I use, it's a 2-most taper shank on there, but in the top it's got, I'm sure it's an M8 thread in the top. When you're using the Jacob's chuck in the headstock, now nothing's being spun on this at the moment, so that's perfectly safe. As soon as you switch the lathe on, that becomes unsafe because it's not supported by anything. So what you need to do is try and get a Jacob's chuck with a thread in there, and then get some threaded rod. This is 8mm threaded rod. Pop it through the headstock, and it screws into the Jacob's chuck. It's called a drawbar. That's what it's called. Right, what I've actually done, I've just put a large washer on there that goes over the other side of the headstock, and I've just put a wing nut on to tighten it up. So it goes through the headstock. Gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Goes through the headstock, screws into the Jacob's chuck, and then I just tighten it down with the wing nut. Now I get small. I'll put that down somewhere. Oh, there it is. Small sanding pad. Good afternoon, Glenn. I'm nearly finished. Just got some 120 on there. And I'm just going to sand off that nub on the bottom of the box so it stands nice. And that's it, done. I'll just stick on the other camera. And there it is. Just a nice wee box. A shape I particularly like, and shape of lid I particularly like as well. So there you go, guys, and that is just on an hour to get that complete. So Wednesday night, right? Wednesday night. Okay. Now there's been a couple of guys. Gary Lowe put a triptych of wall hangings on with some off-centre turning the other day, which looked absolutely fantastic. And Mark Sutton, who's another guy from up, I'm going to sneeze again. Excuse me. He's another guy from. Sorry. Two words, Glenn. Second one's off. Yeah, Mark Sutton. He did a wall hanging with some off-centre turning and colouring the other day as well. Now, the subject on Makers International podcast last night was scrap wood. Now, I tend to burn a lot of my scrap wood, but I do go to a cabinet maker and I get quite a lot of oak. God, this wood. Didn't enjoy turning that. So from this cabinet maker, I get quite a lot of oak. So what I've got here is, what is it? 7 inches wide, 10 inches long. Oh my life. And an inch thick. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to make a small wall hanger. Oh dear me, I'm going to have to get out this workshop. Going to do a small wall hanging with some texture, some off-centre turning, some colouring. I think that's about it. Texturing, off-centre turning, colouring. So that's what I'll be doing on what. Oh, sorry guys, I'm going to have to go and get me nose blown. I didn't realise this wood was going to be like this. It's the first time. I've never had problems with wood in the past. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Everybody who gave me a super chat, it is really appreciated. Thank you very much. And I'll be back on Wednesday evening. See you soon. Oh my life. Yeah, no, it's just the